Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Shifashion, and I'm an observer, entrepreneur, and advocate for inclusive fashion. And I want to start with the question: what do you think is the most important aspect of North American education? I'm guessing that some of you are thinking grades, maybe other people are thinking the opportunity, but for everyone who didn't say prom, the system has failed you. Because in high school movies, prom is the moment. It's the happy ending, the perfect dress, the perfect night. But I started to wonder, why have I never seen that story for a Muslim girl? And so, besides what a Muslim parent might say about the gender mixing and the music, which I might argue sounds a lot like a typical trip to Target, for a Muslim girl, prom isn't just about that one night. It's about the question that comes long before it. What am I even going to wear? And so with prom being a year away, I ask myself that same question. Am I even going to go? In order to answer that, I need to take you back to the first day of school. The day you pick out your outfit like it defines your entire identity. Or at least that was me in first grade. I was so excited. I picked out a romper and a denim jacket, but my mom told me that I couldn't wear it unless I wore leggings underneath. And so while other kids were thinking about their favorite colors, their favorite patterns, and unicorns on their clothing, I was thinking about something different. Does this outfit meet the requirements of my religion? A heavy question for a small kid. Even as a child, I still wanted to participate. I still wanted to feel included. But I realized something early on. It's not that the world was against me. It's that the system wasn't built for me yet. And so I did what most people do when the system doesn't fit them. I adjusted myself. I wore what was practical. I layered. I made outfits work even when they didn't reflect my personal style, often making them appear like they were experimental. And every time I went shopping, the quiet frustration would create chaos in my head. When I went to the mall with my friends, trying on outfits was supposed to be fun. It was supposed to be self-expression. But oftentimes, I felt like I was watching someone else live my reality while I was on the outside of it. And when they left clothing on the rack, it's because they didn't have jobs yet to purchase them. But when I left clothing, it's because those purchases would cost my own values. And so I have a confession to make. I've never been to a high school dance. I kind of have to keep it PG because my mom is listening, so no, but seriously, I've never been to a high school dance. And it's not because I didn't want to go or because I didn't have a date. It's because I didn't know what to wear. And if you can't answer that question, then you don't even get to go to the event. Growing up, I remember trends like the cold shoulder top in 3rd grade, and I remember imagining so many outfits that I would style. But those outfits never ended up in my wardrobe. And it's because I wasn't willing to wear things that stripped me of my beliefs. And so I realized something uncomfortable. If I continue to wait for the world to include me, I might just be waiting forever. You see, I was the 3rd friend, not on the sidewalk because there was only room for 2, but I was waiting for the path to widen. Yet the sidewalk is concrete, unchanged, and I realized if I wanted it to shift, I would have to pave my own path. So, at the age of 15, early 2025, I did just that. That's when I started Shifashion. Not because I wanted a passion project for college, although Columbia, if you're seeing this, hit me up, but because I no longer wanted to compromise. And honestly, your girl needed a prom dress. You can't rely on other people to meet your needs. I couldn't rely on stores like Hollister to design baby doll tops that were modest with higher coverage. I couldn't rely on my school to adapt a dress code which made room for longer dresses at my homecoming dance. And so I stopped waiting. I began advocating for myself in a way I had never done before. And something shifted. Because when you stop asking, why isn't this here? And you start asking, how do I create this? you take ownership of the problem, and ownership changes everything. Because I realized that if I wanted clothing that respected my beliefs and reflected my identity, I couldn't just hope for it. I had to design it. I had to create clothing that served me and girls like me, modest daily wear. And that's when Shifashion stopped being so personal. It became recognition. The third lesson changed how I see everything. A problem isn't just an obstacle, it's an opportunity if you choose to see it that way. You see, there's so many examples of people who saw a gap and didn't just ignore it. They decided to build something. They solved something. Take Steve Jobs, Henry Ford, or Sarah Blakely. They all created something new because they refused to accept that's just how it is. Because the truth is, every innovation starts with discomfort. Something doesn't work. Something doesn't exist. Something feels wrong. But what I realized was it wasn't a problem with my wardrobe. I was looking at a gap in the entire market. And so, based on the gap in that market, I knew I needed to build something. And so the question isn't, what can I wear? It becomes, what can I create so that no one else has to struggle like I did? Because if you don't like how something is built, you don't get to just complain about it. You have to rebuild it. Whether it's technology, systems, or even rockets, you don't just step back, you step in. So here are the 3 lessons that I learned. 1, if you have your own value system, you can still participate in the world, but you must stay true to yourself. 2, you can't depend on the world to advocate for your specific needs. And 3, you have the choice to view a problem as an obstacle or as an opportunity. So I'm sure most of you are still wondering, where in the world did that girl get her shirt from? Well, it's Shifashion. No, I'm joking, that's not the question. You're probably all wondering, am I going to prom? Well, the question is yes, and I'm going in Shifashion. There's a quote attributed to Princess Diana, and it's, what matters most is who's inside the clothes in their heart. And I think about that a lot because a lot of the times, clothing for me was not just about the fabric, it was about the belief, the sense of belonging, the sense of identity for me. And so, in the future, I don't just want to make clothing that's for daily wear for girls. I also want to create homecoming and prom dress lines, and maybe even swimwear. But most importantly, I want to make sure no girl has to ever layer those hideous neon leggings under their outfits again. That was just really painful, I'm so sorry. But I'll leave you with this. The next time you face a problem, ask yourself, is this going to be an obstacle, or is this going to become my opportunity? Because sometimes, the only thing standing between your heart and what you wear is how tough you're willing to let your skin become. Thank you.